Hello, welcome. I'm Jacky Recchiuti, Recchiuti Confections, and we're going to do a little bit of a different twist today. No pun intended. We're going to make some cocktails. And it's going to be relational to our flavors. Like one of the flavors that really inspired me at Recchiuti Confections was just the Tarragon Grapefruit Chocolate Ganache. Actually, I even have it tattooed on my forearm, inner forearm there, because I love it so much. So this is one of these flavors that I've tried in so many different ways, and one of the ways that I really tried it, the inspiration for this was that the Tarragon Grapefruit Ganache started out as a granita, as an intermezzo from a fish course to a meat course at a restaurant that I was working at, a small boutique resort in Vermont. And I love the flavor combination so much, I just kind of started playing around with it a lot, and it eventually morphed its way into a truffle that we make, Tarragon Grapefruit, which is tarragon infused ganache with a 70% semi-sweet chocolate, topped with a candied grapefruit peel, and then enrobed in a 64% semi-sweet chocolate, which is a custom blend made for us by Valrhona. Let me see if I can get that right, for Recchiuti Confections. But anyway, just a little general housekeeping before we kick off with this. You can order online at recchiuti.com for ship delivery and pickup orders at both stores, the Lab in Dogpatch and then the Recchiuti shop at the Ferry Building Marketplace. Ordering details are listed on the website. So you'll have everything you need there to order product chocolates from us. And once again, thank you for being a loyal customer, and if you haven't ordered yet, you should check it out. It works really well, and we're there for you. All right.
So Michael, why do you have the ice cream maker out again?
So I have the ice cream maker, and I have this old school ice cream maker here, which I love. It's an Alaska freezer. It's probably about 60 years old. Basically it's a freezer made with ice and salt. So it's a really intense ratio of 6 parts ice and 4 parts salt. So basically 6 cups of ice and 4 cups of salt. And it's usually rock salt, something like this, like a really nice coarse rock salt. And what it does is it drops the temperature of the ice down to about 8 degrees, which is perfect freezing. So you need a nice coarse rock salt. If you use a kosher salt or a finer salt, it breaks down a little bit too fast and it liquefies the ice quickly. But if you have the right salt, larger crystal salt, the ice stays really hard. It doesn't liquefy as much, so you have really good freezing.
So are you going to be making the base for the cocktails? Are you making the Tarragon Grapefruit Granita?
So what I'm going to do is make the Tarragon Grapefruit Granita, and I'm actually going to pour it into this ice cream maker and make it in this ice cream maker. But if you don't have something like this, what I recommend is, because when you're making granita, you just stir it intermittently. You don't stir it constantly, because if you stir it constantly in this ice cream mixer, or if you put it in an ice cream machine, it would turn into more like a sorbet. It would be very smooth, so you wouldn't develop this
slushy?
You wouldn't develop these really nice elongated crystals. So what I suggest is that if you don't have an ice cream freezer like this, or that you can kind of hand crank periodically, what I suggest is that you use a tray, a nice thick tray, insulated tray. Say for example a ceramic tray that you can keep in the freezer. You're going to make basically this granita solution, and you're going to pour it in the tray, and then you're going to pop it in the freezer, and then periodically you're just going to stir it. Once it forms ice crystals on the surface, you're going to stir those ice crystals in, and then every once in a while you go in there and you keep on stirring it. It'll probably take about an hour to 2 hours, depending on how cold your freezer is, depending on how hot the day is. It really just kind of depends.
So what we used was the ceramic Le Creuset lasagna dish, right?
Yeah, so I used a Le Creuset ceramic pan, but it's also ceramic. It's a cast iron pan that's coated with enamel coated. Just something that's really going to retain a thermal mass. It's really going to retain a lot of the cold. You don't want to use a thin bowl. You don't want to use, it's better to do it in a pan, because you want to have a thinner surface. So you want it to freeze more quickly. You don't want to just pour it into a bowl where you'll just freeze the surface and you're stirring it back into liquid. It's much more difficult. So you want to have it on a lower surface, but you have to be careful when you place it in the freezer because you can pour it all over the place.
So what kind of grapefruit are we using?
So we're using ruby red grapefruit. I love ruby red grapefruit for a variety of reasons. Probably the number one reason is there's a little bit of the flavor, but it's also just the color. I just like the color of it, that pink color. So here, for this recipe, basically this is 2.5 cups of grapefruit juice. And then you're going to have your water and sugar syrup that's infused with tarragon. So let me just check my recipe right here. So this is like 1/3 cup of water, and it's 1/2 cup of sugar. And then this is about 1/4 cup of tarragon.
So do you cook it down like you would simple syrup?
So you make like a simple syrup. So you take you cook the water, heat the water up, you add the sugar, you just dissolve it, and then you add the tarragon and let it sit and infuse. You can add the tarragon and let it sit and infuse once the water. I like to do it once the sugar solution cools, because I think you get less of a poached flavor with the tarragon. So I would cool the sugar solution before I add the tarragon. I think you get a much better, cleaner flavor. I wouldn't put it in while it's hot. A lot of herbs that we cold infuse at Recchiuti when we infuse with our chocolates. I think you get a nicer, more clean, sharp flavor, like our lemon verbena, our tarragon, or different types of tea. Some of our tea and their lemon, we try to cold infuse them instead
or lavender.
Apply a lot of heat. Yeah, and the lavender is a very short steeping time, almost 2 to 3 minutes, because it's so strong. So each herb or tea has its own specific steeping time because of the intensity of it, and also like if teas, they're like high acid. So here I'm going to pour this solution in, and I would get a strainer. So this is the steeped sugar syrup solution in tarragon, and I'm just going to pour it in here. It's really simple. There's not much to it. And then you have tarragon here. This is about, let me see, what did I say here in the recipe? Because this recipe's online, this is about a teaspoon of tarragon chopped. So here's tarragon chopped. If you're wondering what tarragon looks like, it looks like this. I would store it in water in the fridge. It'll last for a while. We're also going to use it as garnish.
So do you find that at this farmer's market, or can you find that at the grocery store?
You can find it at the grocery store. You can definitely find it at the farmer's market. It's a fussy herb. It is definitely readily available, but sometimes it's just difficult to find. I had a hard time finding it this time around, but I ended up finding it.
But you can also grow it in your yard or in a pot.
Yeah. So we're just going to add the tarragon. I'm adding actually more because I just like more tarragon. That's just me. So the recipe calls for a specific amount, but you can add more. You just stir it in. And then this ice cream, these things are amazing. This will make it into a beautiful granita.
So that has a canister in the center. For those that missed our lemon buttermilk ice cream demo, this has a canister in the center that is frozen by the salt ice solution, and that's where you poured it in.
Basically you drop the canister in here, you set it up, I don't know if you can see it, there's ice.
Right, hold on. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So what I did was you place this canister inside, and then you do your 6 cups of ice and 4 cups of rock salt. You mix that together. When you mix it together with your hands, I recommend wearing gloves or something because it drops the temperature of the ice down to like 70 degrees.
Oh, your body temperature does?
It's really, well, no, the ice gets really cold, and that's why it freezes the ice cream. If you don't have the right ratio of salt to ice, you won't freeze this mixture at all. It'll just sit there and not do anything. But this will literally freeze in like 10-15 minutes. So by the time we finish making these cocktails, I'll be able to show you this finished product. But a little TV magic. I happen to have some that I already made from that machine. Let me just close this freezer. So by churning it, see how I'm just letting it sit in the freezer? I'm not turning it consistently. If I was making ice cream in this, I would constantly turn it.
Because you want a
churn it
smoother.
and make it smoother. But this is like these beautiful crystals. It's gorgeous.
So it's not as coarse as, say, a Hawaiian shave ice, and not as smooth as a sorbet. It's kind of in between.
Yeah, so a granita is like that, you know, that you want to develop those really nice ice crystals. And then every once in a while, just give it a little turn. You'll be able to feel when it's, with this particular machine, you'll be able to feel when it's going. But I wouldn't use a motorized machine. I mean, you could, you just have to turn the motor on and off. So anyway, here we go. So let's make our first cocktail.
So which cocktail are you doing?
So the first one I'm going to do is the
Recchiuti pastiche?
Recchiuti pastiche. Yes, thank you. I think I had one, so I'm kind of like
Actually, I did make him a cocktail.
I'm a little fuzzy. So this is a tumbler glass, about 12 to 14 ounces that we recommend, and you're going to fill it about 2/3 full of this granita. So I'm going to carefully kind of fill it up. You don't need to fill it all the way full. Depends on the glass. And you can use a smaller glass. So that's not 2/3 full, but that's enough because this glass kind of bows out. So I think that's definitely enough. And you can put the alcohol, you can go in either direction. You can place this, you can place the pastis in first, or you can place it in after.
Pour it over. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would choose for this drink to place it in after. I like to just see what it looks like in the glass before, but some people like to put the pastis in and you put this on top, and then you can either stir it or it'll just find its way in. Now I'm gonna give this a little turn. Kind of get it going. And so we're using Ricard.
Which is your favorite.
Which is my favorite. So when we go to France, we get the Ricard in water.
Or Pernod when I choose to order.
Yeah, I think Pernod to me is a little bit too higher licorice flavor. So, but I like both. But I like Ricard. It's just a specific flavor. It's the drink of Marseille. So this one I really enjoy. So we're going to do about 1.5 ounces of pastis. So this is a 2-ounce cup shot. So it's a little bit over 1.5 ounces. And then you're just going to garnish it. A little bit of so now you can garnish it or not, and if you feel as though, like, depending on the glass, if the garnish is going to get in the way.
Also, you can top it off with seltzer.
So if you don't want to, yes, if you don't want
or sparkling water.
If you want it just to be a non-alcoholic drink, you can top it off with sparkling water. So,
or you could add it to this drink if you want something that's a little bit more.
You could actually, you know, because this is fairly strong stuff. So let's say add it to a little bit. Just kind of give it a little topper there. We're just making these really simple drinks. It's not like these fussy, highly elevated bartenders. It's, you know, which I love what these people are doing with cocktails these days. We're just making these very simple cocktails that you can do at home. I think the only thing that might be just a little bit complicated is making a granita, but
yeah,
like I said, you don't need the ice cream maker. You can just put it.
So
in
how
the
did we come about making the Recchiuti pastiche? I mean, it's because we love Pernod and all the time that we spent in France, right?
So the whole drink basically came about of, like, yes, the fact that we like the pastis and the Tarragon grapefruit flavor. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I don't know if like if the pastis like made its way into a Tarragon grapefruit mixture.
I think it's the
And
love
we-
of licorice.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
taste, yeah. So it just kind of amplifies that licorice flavor. So this is it. It's a really simple drink, nothing too complicated.
Oh yeah, you should taste it to make sure that you've got the ratios.
Oh yeah. It's got a kick to it. But it's beautiful. So there's that drink. So the next one is the Grenada Greyhound. So with the Grenada Greyhound, we're going to do it in like a tumbler glass. And this one I'm going to do, I'll add the gin first. So about 1.5 ounces of gin.
And we're using one of our favorites by St. George. They make a line of gins that are really excellent.
Right, so this is the gin that we're using for this particular one. Everybody has their favorite. There's a lot of gin out there. So 1.5 ounces. This is a 2-ounce pour. If it was full to the top, I'm adding that. Put the cap on it so I don't knock it over on the floor or the cats get to it. I don't know if the cats like gin.
Probably not.
And then we're gonna add, we're just gonna add the Granita. And you can fill it however much you want, you know, with the Granita. Fill it all the way to the top. And then this one, like I said, another simple, taking just a slice of grapefruit, making let me just find a better piece here. And I'm making like a little butterfly, as Jacky calls it, the butterfly.
Well,
So
these are
basically
summer
just-
garden drinks.
Just slice it, place it over. I mean, you could just cut a wedge. Like I said, we're nothing too, it's not about being like uber sophisticated, so that would be a couple different versions. I kind of like this. And then you just have that drink there. You can top it off and sprinkle a little tarragon, chopped tarragon on top. You know, it's just a matter of how much tarragon you want to mess around with, and you might feel as though the tarragon's too strong. It's really up to you what you want to do. But this is another cocktail, so I'm just kind of mixing my cocktails.
Going through all of your cocktails.
Oh my God. That's incredible. Wow. I better mix some of that. I would mix it up a little bit before you go down that road. Now let's try it. Much better. I was getting all the gin, but I wasn't getting the Grenada.
And no
mixed in with
Grenada.
it.
Yeah.
So I'm giving this another little stir.
So about how long would it, do you think it's going to take to complete this cycle of making Grenada?
I'm going to take a look right now. Take the cap off. It's not there yet. I was hoping it would be finished before we were done, so it might be about, to answer your question, Jacky, depends on how much you put in there. I'd say about usually like half hour, 45 minutes. So we might miss that boat for a demo, but we'll keep it going. It's still liquid, in liquid form. So here, we're gonna make our next drink, which is the Paloma, the Frozen Paloma. So we're using a lot of glasses. I don't know if you know, these are all glasses from Public Glass. Public Glass is a non-profit organization in the Bayview area. And they do these really cool events. They're not doing them currently, but they're also a school. They teach glass blowing. They have all these master glass blowers that come through and teach these classes, specialized classes, and then they have this hot glass cold beer event, which they're currently not having, but I'm sure at some point they'll start it up again, where you can go there and
I think they have virtual classes now.
You can actually experience that, where you go in and you choose a glass. They have all these glasses on the table. You pay an admission fee. You choose a glass. So Jacky always likes to get there early and choose her glasses. So she has collections of glasses. This one's got this nice little orange detail on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then you
That's on
go
the
in
punt.
and you watch these glass blowers blow these like incredible pieces. And in addition to that, there's live music, there's food, and so on and so forth. It's really a cool experience. So these glasses that we're using, all of these glasses, this glass here is from Public Glass.
Well, everything that we have
this
down.
glass here, yes, that we're using today is from Public Glass, and this one itself as well. So here, we're gonna do, before we get started, we're gonna just rim this glass with a little bit of salt. I'm using a lime. And then I'm gonna take some coarse sea salt. And you can do all different types of salts.
Could you do a smoked salt? Do you think that would work?
You could do whatever you like. It's really open.
So this we're using with a past partnership with 123 Tequila, which is an organic tequila company. And we did an event a couple of years ago where they did some sample tastings that we paired with our chocolates.
Right. So this one I'm gonna actually place the Grenada in first.
And so which tequila are we using?
And so we're going to use, this is the 123 that Jacky was talking about, so we're gonna use the Añejo. I like this one, it's kind of like a nice, I don't know. It's just,
deeper body.
Yeah, it's just like more of the cognac of tequilas for me. But that's just my personal preference. I'm not like a tequila aficionado, but you can definitely, this company makes really beautiful tequila. So this is about an ounce. I'm making a little bit more than an ounce. I'm making my drinks a little strong. Then I'm pouring it over. So you could put the tequila in first, or you could put the Granita in first and then pour the tequila over top. I decided to pour the tequila over top. And then you can garnish it with a little zest of lime. I use like these little zesters here. And you can kind of create this nice zest. Just get it all over the table. But you just get these nice little thin pieces of zest. I mean, you can do whatever garnish you like. If you want an additional piece of lime, you can put a lime on the side. I would give it a little stir. And that's it. Another simple cocktail for your pleasure. And then the salt gives it that nice little contrast.